Maura, before getting into Harvard, I want to talk to you about the U18s getting canceled. That's a tournament that is a big deal and pretty close to the hearts of a lot of people in this program. Coached it, a lot of players have played in it. What's been your reaction to everything that's been going on with the tournament, kind of the IIHF's handling of the situation?
Yeah, devastating news. And I think there are so many factors that are at play. One thing that I think about is how many of those U18 players eventually are Olympians. And that international playing experience, putting on the red, white, and blue, as we know, women's only has U18 and senior national teams. So I think we're missing out on some really valuable experience for Olympians down the road. I have a hard time with the World Juniors happening at the same time while this tournament has been canceled for the second time. And it makes me think about what went on in the past year, that there was no contingency plan for something like this. And Omicron came on strong about a month ago. I get that, but I think the planning should have been much further along than getting a phone call on Christmas Eve, all of those kids and staff members. So I feel really badly for them. I know how much work goes in from a staff perspective just to get to this point. And I'm proud of the movement that's going on online, especially the Olympians or future Olympians or whatever they will be in a couple days, who are stepping out and really getting things going. So it's here had a fantastic tweet that's gotten a ton of traction. And we have a lot of players in our program that played on the U18 teams. And it's a huge moment for them in their careers. And you only get so many U18. Once you hit 18, you're out of that pool. So there are players that have missed that entire window. So devastating, but still hoping that something will happen.
For players like Soderberg from Sweden, the Minnesotans that take part in the U18s, they're probably going to get spotted at some point just because of all the exposure Minnesota hockey gets. But like Emma from Sweden, even Ashton Bell, from Goaltender in Manitoba.
Yep.
How important is this tournament for players like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would direct you guys to Sodz's tweet. She said it, and it's true. I was coaching on that U18 staff. That was my first year with the staff, and I was in St. Catharines, Ontario, getting to watch all these other teams. And I came home with a list of names, and hers was at the top. And that's where that process started, and it took off from there. But those opportunities don't happen for kids like that without that exposure.
The IIHF last night their president came out with a long kind of Q&A that they put out explaining their reasoning. He says they care a lot about women's hockey, but do you guys believe the IIHF really does care about women's hockey with how they handle the various, from the women's worlds originally getting canceled and Canada rescheduling it, and now that, the U18s getting canned again, and then kind of, it sounds like they're saying, hey, USA Hockey, if you want to figure it out, but we're not helping. It doesn't seem like they're interested in rescheduling this.
I think it takes everybody involved. So the IIHF obviously makes the ultimate decision, but I think our federations need to band together and make a strong push. So we've got a statement from USA Hockey. I think there's a statement from Hockey Canada. I would like to see more from the federations in putting pressure on the IIHF. And again, I think Christmas Eve is when this decision came down. So I wonder what was going on before that to get to that point. And I think across the board, you've seen, this year we've been heavily involved in expanding the tournaments, and this battle, it's draining for somebody who's been in women's hockey since I was a little girl back in the 80s and playing college in the early 2000s and still having these fights. It's exhausting and it's disheartening. The only positive that I can take from it is what's going on thanks to social media, is people speaking out and putting pressure on people and exposing things. And right now, that's the only way to get things done, it seems. So long-winded answer, it needs to be better.
Do you like what USA Hockey's doing? Do you feel they're doing enough?
I mean, I'm not in the organization right now, so a statement could be stronger. I mean, I don't know. but I would like to see those federations band together. I think there was a Finnish coach, I believe, maybe a Swedish coach that put out some powerful statements as well. I think strength in numbers, and hopefully they can get something figured out.
You mentioned tourney expansion, it finally officially official, the final NCAA bureaucracy.
That's right.
Cleared. How did it feel to see that, you know, hit the finish line, and how do you feel about your team where it stands going into an 11-team tournament now this spring?
Yeah, I mean, really, really excited about the future of NCAA women's hockey and expanding the bracket, and we'll continue to push for 12 and continue to push for a tournament that makes a lot of sense. We're happy with 11 right now, coming from 8, and our team knows that this semester is really important for us. I think we were playing really good hockey at the end of the semester, and we want to pick up where we left off and continue to build, because we certainly intend to be one of those 11 teams.
What stands out to you about Harvard?
Harvard has a ton of players. I don't know if you've seen their roster, but they have about 35 listed, 5 goalies in their team pitcher, because of the COVID year and how they had to manage that. So a lot of players, a lot of options. I know a lot of those players well. There are U18 kids there, as well as some of the kids that I recruited many, many moons ago, it seems, now that I'm in year 7 here. So good team, a lot of depth, strong in all 3 areas. You know, good goaltending. They've been rotating a little bit back and forth with the goalies. Good decor, and a lot of potential or potent firepower up front.
For you and Lou, is this still special going back to Harvard?
Oh, absolutely. And more so for her. That's her alma mater. For me, I feel like it's a homecoming a little bit. I was able to go home for Christmas and say, hey, I'll see you guys next weekend. You know, that's kind of nice. That doesn't happen often. So nice to be able to see some family again, and have them see our team, which, you know, my parents don't get to see a whole lot other than through the computer.
Nice you're able to get the baby, meeting your baby out the way during the holidays too, as opposed to if you went out there in the fall, huh?
Yes, absolutely. It's a little more convenient. Eliminate a flight for us. Yeah.
What was the spike in COVID cases and, you know, college, pros, some at the high school level, games getting postponed, games getting canceled? Do you feel like there's a heightened urgency right now with your players, and you're like, all right, we got to go back to kind of what things were about a year ago?
Yeah, you know, I think for us, having played last year, we're in a different spot than some of these teams. Like Harvard didn't play last year, so this spike for them is probably a little bit different than it is for us, because we've been through, hey, we're going to test 3 times a week. Hey, we're going to test 6 times a week. Hey, we're going to mask indoors. We're going to do this. We're not playing this weekend. We're playing. We've done that act, and I think, you know, we'd be more prepared for anything that comes our way. So I think it is certainly urgent, and we talk to our players about that over Christmas break, taking good precautions and making sure we're doing everything that we can to stay healthy amidst this, you know, really contagious strain.
You feel like there's a little bit more confidence for you guys given the system that you guys have in place?
I think so. I think we feel very good about the way UMD and our department has handled COVID from the very start. I think we as a department have been leaders in our league, the WCHA and beyond. And I think our protocols are right in line with what the NCAA put out just 2 weeks ago. And we had been doing that well before they put that into place. So I feel good about what we're doing. I can't guarantee that we won't have issues, because that's the way viruses work. But I know our players are doing the best that they can, and so is our department.
Maura, has your program made any adjustments or anything as cases have risen here, or are you guys kind of maintaining the same course at the start of the year?
Yeah, we're maintaining what we've been doing. We're talking about it a lot, making sure that our players are aware. I mean, they know what's going on in the community, and, you know, the break is actually coming back in January is a little bit better because there are so few people around. So they're mostly with each other, which is always a little better than being exposed to people on campus and things like that. So we communicate about it pretty regularly as we head out on a flight. we'll certainly be taking precautions and 95 type masks and things like that. So doing whatever we can to keep our team safe and healthy.
How's the trip to Harvard look then for the team on this one? Is this back to, are they able to still do team dinners or anything like that, or?
Yeah, we haven't gone out to restaurants very much. We try to avoid that unless we're in a private room. So I'd say that's extra cautious than some other teams. So we'll eat mostly in the hotels in our private spaces. But no, we don't go out. We don't go out much. Yeah, keep it tight. Sorry, guys.
Yep, been there. So no Lou tour at Harvard this time? I remember that being very popular.
Well, if it works into the schedule, it's outside for the most part, so it would be doable. We have 2:00 games though.
Yeah.
2:00 each day, so we'll have early start, so it would have to be after if she's up for it. See how the games go.
Or outside the coaching staff, and I guess Elizabeth, now your players have seen this team. Do you like the uniqueness of this series?
Yeah, when I read Kelly's story, I realized that these guys hadn't been there with us in the past. So I think that's awesome. I think it's a great experience for our players to go see a different team, see a different school, get out to Boston, one of the most historical cities in the country. When we pick non-conference matchups, we try to bring our team to places that they can, get a good experience at, as well as a great hockey experience. So I think we will get that this weekend for sure.
Coming off a split series with Minnesota into a break, what have you liked from the team after coming back here?
Yeah, I mean, it's been short. We've had two days back, and they're finding their legs again and trying to find their rhythm. I think I like the effort. I know they worked out over the break. They didn't come in having sat around for 2 weeks. So just trying to get back into the rhythm, make sure they remember all the things that we've been working on for the first semester, and hit the road. And I think, the same thing for Harvard. That's where we're at here. It's kind of like the beginning of the season. Each team only gets so many days of practice before the series, and it's a massive series. So we'll be ready to go when the puck drops on Friday.
How important is it to get off to a big start this second half here?
Yeah, absolutely. Every game that we can win is that's our goal, and it's even more important now as we get down, to however many games we have left. And it's less about how many and how important, and more about continuing to build and continuing to get better. We want to be playing our best hockey this semester leading into March, because we want to play for a long time and have some hardware at the end of it. So it's all about getting better and building our momentum.
What's run through your head, your thoughts and everything? Sweden was supposed to be the host of the tournament this time around. What would you like to see being done?
Well, I think all of us understand the health and safety aspects of this, but I just wish it could be like a safety way to play the tournament could be found, and talking about a postponement rather than a cancellation right away, to like find the option to get these girls to play, because I know for myself how important these tournaments was for me and for my career. So I really think it's disappointing if it's going to be 2 years in a row. So for some people, they're missing out completely on their chance to play.
What do you remember about competing in the U18s?
I mean, like the U18s was the first time for me getting to wear the Swedish jersey, and it's like, it's a different experience, like playing for your country, and you get to like step into bigger shoes, and it's like more pressure, but it's very like developing for as a player to like be under that kind of pressure early on, because now for these girls, they're going to try and like take a spot on a senior national team, but they don't have the experience and maybe haven't been used to the pressure. So it's going to be harder to take that step for them.
US and Canada, especially the US, the high school here in Minnesota with hockey and everything like that. I'm wondering for Sweden, for countries, Sweden, Finland, countries that maybe don't have like this NCAA hockey and everything like that. How important are these tournaments in not only, getting your exposure to the rest of the world, but like you mentioned, building up and finding that next generation of national team players?
Yeah, like for countries in Europe, like we don't have as many like women's team. We don't have like, I didn't play with girls growing up and that kind of sort either. So getting to play against the other best players in your own age is big, because you know like where you're at and that kind of stuff, and also the exposure that the tournament gives you. Just
It's important.
yeah, it's very important to get to play these tournaments.
What do you feel, what kind of emotions come up with when you see the World Juniors continuing in Canada, or even, I saw Sid Brock tweeted that photo of men's teams out there competing, right after they announced the cancellation of the women's U18s. What goes through your head? How does that make you feel?
Well, the thing is, like in Sweden right now, like hockey is being played, like they reduced the capacity of how much the rinks can like take in, but hockey is still being played. So, and especially the rink where they were supposed to have this tournament is big. So I think it could have been an like opportunity to play it safely at a reduced capacity. So that's just, you see now in the men's tournament, like they're still getting COVID cases right now, so they haven't figured out a safe way to do it there. So, but they still got to play. So it's disappointing.
Do you think the Swedish Hockey Federation is doing enough?
I actually don't know what measures they've been taking towards this, and if they've been trying to like fight it, or like if they've been just like saying okay kind of thing. So I don't know.
Or if this decision's just coming down from the IIHF?
Mm-hmm.
Coming back from break here, I wish we weren't talking about COVID again. I feel like we're kind of almost turned back the clocks last year, but Coach mentioned, you guys have kind of been through this all before.
Mm-hmm.
Is it tough to be dealing with this again, or does going through this all last year maybe help your team, adapt as needed?
Like obviously it's hard that we're still going through this, but we know what we need to do to play, and we all think it's worth it with the sacrifices we have to make, and we know how to stay you can't stay completely safe if you leave your house, but at the same time we found ways, and we think it's worth it. Like as Coach said, we don't go out much to restaurants, we try to keep it to ourselves and like mask up whenever we can. So I think we're used to it and we know how to handle it pretty well.
And a lot of these practices just kind of become habits now.
Yes,
For everyone.
I would say so.
And all that other stuff aside, I mean, you do get to play some hockey this weekend. You get to go on a nice trip. How exciting is it to get going here in the second half against a team that really you guys are pretty familiar with?
It's going to be really exciting. Like coming off of a break, we haven't played now in 3 weeks. So I think all of us are very excited to be back on the ice again. So we're just going to bring that into this series this weekend. I'm not very familiar with Harvard myself, just because they're out of conference, but it's going to be a good weekend.
You got any back in the day stories yet from your days at Harvard?
We've probably gotten some, but I can't say anything on top of my head.
You're just tuning them out.
She loves her facts and they're good.
The Harvard any facts, just any facts, lose a fan.
Yeah, she loves that.
What have you really liked from the team that you've seen from you guys coming back from this break here, getting ready for this weekend?
Everyone is just going with everything we got right now. As Coach said, we have had 2 practices, so it could be a little rust here and there, but we're keep just working through it and putting in the effort to get back to where we want to be.
Gabbie, the U18s, what do you remember from your experience taking part in that tournament? How important was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it was like a dream come true just to put that jersey on and to make that team. Making it to Lake Placid and then finding out I got to go to the Czech Republic was something like a moment that I will never forget, sharing with my family and my parents. It's such a special moment when you find out you get to represent your country at that age. It's kind of hard to understand what you're actually representing when you are in high school still. But getting that experience under your belt is something so special that it's disappointing that this group gets to miss out on 2 years of that and maybe don't get the chance to do it again.
You've played the U18s, you've been with the senior national team. What's it been like seeing, women's hockey, men's hockey events keep going on? World Juniors are being played 2 years in a row, but women's hockey, you know, the U18 is getting canceled 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
The fight to keep the women's worlds alive. Heck, even rivalry series games between US and Canada
Yeah,
are getting shelved here.
yeah.
What's your reaction? What runs through your head when you see this happening?
Like Coach Ann so said, it's disappointing and it's just kind of an exhausting battle that us females have to go through time and time again. I mean, we were going through this stuff when I was in a U18 situation up in Lake Placid. We had a meeting with the senior national team there and the U22s, and we all sat down and talked about the equality and what they're going to start fighting for and that kind of stuff. And at that age, I didn't really understand the bigger picture and what was really happening in that sense. But I mean, we've been fighting it since I was 16 years old, and for it to still be happening and for a second year in a row for it to be canceled and not even like a thought for it to be postponed or figure out a different way to hold it. It's exhausting for the females. I mean, the senior national team, they've done so much and they continue to do so much to try and get this equality. And I mean, I can only imagine what they're feeling, the disappointment and exhaustion that they feel from battling this time and time again.
COVID protocols, are those exhausting yet, or you guys kind of roll with the punches now?
I think we just roll with the punches now. I mean, when it first started, it was kind of a lot to take in. I wouldn't say it was exhausting. It was just a little bit overwhelming, I feel like. But now it's kind of the normal. We hit a point, I think, where we're doing whatever we can to keep playing hockey because that's what we want to do and we know our end goal. So we're ready to just roll with any punches that come our way through COVID.
Did that experience last year, as tough as that was going through everything, did that really kind of harden you a bit for this year when that's kind of all come roaring back?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the ups and downs that we had last year and the unknowns of each weekend, I think we're definitely more prepared for anything that's going to happen this year. It's nothing we haven't dealt with before. So yeah, I think it's definitely prepared us in a different sense than teams that haven't experienced it like we did last year.
These trips you guys series playing out east against, you know, ECAC teams, it's kind of like the WCHA's, you know, biggest rival, I'd say, in women's hockey, the two leagues battle for supremacy. What's it like when you get into these games? What's different? What's the feel like?
I think it's always a different feel when we get to go and travel somewhere out east and play. It's definitely more exciting to see a different rink than we see every single year. I've never played in this rink. I haven't even seen the campus. So I think it's just a super exciting time to get to see a new arena and a new facility and then also a new team. So you never know what to expect with different leagues and the reffing and other teams. So just getting prepared for that and ready to see what they throw at us.
You're having such few non-conference games, or did again last year kind of prepare you?
I think last year kind of prepared us for it because I feel like we don't pay attention like, oh, we have less non-conference than before. I mean, we're comparing it to last year and it feels like we didn't really have a life before COVID. So just comparing it to last year, it's just exciting to be able to go out to Boston and not just staying in the WCHA.